Imagine an island right at the very tip of India, a place where myths aren't just stories, they're carved into the stone, and the ocean itself is part of the prayer. Today, we're taking a journey to Rameshwaram, a truly sacred land where legends, history, and deep faith all come together. Rameshwaram often gets called the Varanasi of the South. But why? I mean, in a country just filled with holy sites, what is it about this small island town that gives it such incredible spiritual weight? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. And it's not just about ancient history, it's about a feeling. This quote from a visitor just captures it perfectly. It speaks to a kind of power that you can literally feel in the air there, a sense of peace that goes way beyond the stone and the stories. So to understand that feeling, we've got to look at why Rameshwaram is such a pillar of the Hindu faith. Its importance is built up in layers, from centuries of scripture and belief. And it all starts with its place on the spiritual map of India. Okay, so first up, Rameshwaram is one of the four Char Dham. This is the holiest pilgrimage circuit in Hinduism. Think of it like a spiritual compass for the entire country, with a major pilgrimage site at each cardinal point. You've got Badrinath in the north, Puri in the east, Dwarka in the west, and right here, Rameshwaram, anchoring the south. But there's another really important layer here. While the other three Chardham sites are all about the god Vishnu, Rameshwaram is unique. It's a huge center for the worship of Lord Shiva, and it's one of only 12 sacred Jyotirlingas. These are places where Shiva is believed to have appeared as a fiery pillar of light. So what that means is, this island is a holy spot for both major traditions within Hinduism. It's a place that brings everyone together. And you can really see this spiritual gravity when you look at the town's demographics. I mean, the 2011 census shows that an overwhelming majority of the population is Hindu. This just cements its identity not just as a place to visit, but as a living, breathing center of faith. Now, the thing you have to remember is that Rameshwaram is an island, so getting there is actually part of the pilgrimage itself. And for over 100 years, that's meant crossing one of India's most incredible engineering marvels. The journey over the water is all thanks to the Pamban Bridge, which stretches an amazing 2.2 kilometers over the open sea. It's so much more than just a bridge. It's really the lifeline that connects this sacred island to the rest of India. And its history is just as incredible as its length. Get this. It opened way back in 1914, and for almost 100 years, it was the longest sea bridge in the entire country. Can you just imagine the sheer ambition of building something like this over a century ago? It's really a monument to engineering that has stood up to time, wind, and waves. So once you cross that bridge, pretty much all roads lead to the heart of the island, the absolutely magnificent Ramanathaswamy Temple. This is a place that's just steeped in mythology and jaw-dropping architecture. And to give you a sense of scale, the temple complex covers a massive 15 acres. It's really less of a single building and more like a city, with these towering gateways, countless shrines, and holy water tanks. And at the heart of this sacred city, you find this: 1,212 intricately carved pillars. Each one is a work of art, telling stories from Hindu epics with these incredible carvings of gods, animals, and all sorts of celestial beings. Now, this is where the genius of Dravidian architecture really shines. These pillars line the world's longest temple corridor, and if you stand at one end and look all the way down its length, it creates this stunning optical illusion, as all those perfectly symmetrical pillars seem to stretch out and merge into a single, infinite point. It's amazing. The temple's history is as long as its corridors, really. According to the Ramayana, the original lingam, that's the sacred form of Lord Shiva, was installed right here by Lord Rama and his wife Sita. The actual building we see today, well, that grew over centuries. The first corridors were built back in the 12th century, it was raided in the 14th, and then had a huge expansion in the 17th century. But, a visit to the temple isn't just about admiring the architecture. A huge part of the pilgrimage is this really unique and deeply symbolic ritual of purification that involves 22 sacred wells. The whole ritual follows a very specific path. It kicks off with a dip in the sea at a holy spot called Agni Tirtham. From there, pilgrims head into the temple, pay a small fee, and then they go to each of the 22 holy wells, or tirthams, to have water poured over their heads. After all that, they change into dry clothes for the final worship at the main shrine. Remember that feeling of peace we talked about earlier? For believers, this ritual is where it all truly begins. This isn't just symbolic. People describe it as a physical and spiritual cleansing. Each bucket of water is said to wash away a different kind of burden, leading to this profound feeling of lightness and renewal. And the legend behind these wells is just fascinating. The story goes that Lord Rama created them by firing arrows right into the ground. But what's really remarkable is that even today, despite being so close to each other, the water from each well is said to have a completely different temperature and taste. But the pilgrimage doesn't stop at the temple. The whole island is dotted with sites that echo with both its mythological past and its modern history. So let's explore what's out there, right at the very edge of India. This slide tells a more recent and, honestly, a tragic story. Dhanushkodi, at the very tip of the island, used to be this bustling, thriving town. But in 1964, a massive cyclone completely wiped it off the map. The government declared it a ghost town, and today its ruins, a skeletal church, a waterlogged railway station, they just stand there as this haunting memorial to the power of nature. And beyond Dhanushkodi, the island has other key sites. You can go to the viewpoint for RamSetu. That's the legendary bridge of limestone shoals said to have been built by Rama's army. There's the Rameswaram Temple, a serene spot surrounded by water that somehow survived the 1964 cyclone. You can also visit the temple for the five-faced Hanuman and even see stones that are said to be from RamSetu, which miraculously float on water. And, of course, you can pay your respects at the memorial for Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, one of modern India's most beloved presidents who was born right here on this island. So, if you're feeling inspired to make this journey yourself, let's wrap this up with some practical advice that can help you plan your own pilgrimage. Getting to Rameshwaram is actually pretty straightforward. The nearest airport is in Madura, which is about a 3 to 4 hour drive away. The island also has its own railway station with direct trains from a lot of major cities, and it's well connected by road, so getting there by bus or taxi is easy too. Okay, the big question is always, how much time do you need? Well, you can definitely see the highlights in one very packed day, focusing on the main temple and a trip out to Dhanushkodi. But honestly, to really soak in the atmosphere and explore the smaller sites without feeling rushed, a 2-day trip is what I'd really recommend. We've seen how Rameshwaram, with its physical bridge of steel and its mythological bridge of faith, connects the past to the present. It kind of leaves us with a final thought. What places in your own life act as a bridge, connecting your own history, your beliefs, and your sense of who you are? Thanks for joining us on this journey.